Hello,
Yeah.
everybody. Welcome to Coach's Corner. Welcome to this amazing session here. We, took the pause is funny. It's a long sound. We took a little break from last Sunday. All of us had, various things to partake in, and I want to welcome you to this particular episode of Coach's Corner. Notice it's my amazing colleague Alicia and myself. Big shout out and hello to our other colleagues Paul and Lou. And this is Science of Getting Rich is what we're talking about, and it's chapter 6. Basically, how riches come to you, and it's a very powerful chapter. And before we jump in, because they're short chapters, but there's so much in these chapters that'll really help you with your mindset, having a better understanding of basically manifesting and attracting more income. So my name is Jamel Matias. I'm a certified mindset success coach / business consultant. And basically, my purpose is to reveal the hidden potential already within you and guide you to your truest desires. And I work with individuals, entrepreneurs, business owners, basically helping you achieve higher milestones in your personal life or your professional life. And I'll pass it to my partner here, my amazing partner, Alicia.
Hello. Thank you, Yemen. My name is Alisa Espinosa. I am based in Sweden, and I help people that have everything, but still is they are like missing something from the inside. And so I want to help people to create a life that feels good on the inside, not just looks good from the outside. I also work with leaders to help leaders be leaders worth following, and that they can also create a safe environment in the workplace. And yeah, this is I am work with the individuals, with teams, and yeah, organizations.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I'm in the Maryland area in the US, on the East Coast. And Alicia, you are
In Sweden.
in Sweden. How can I forget? Sweden.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's talk about how riches come to you, right? This should be on the top of everyone's list.
Yeah.
We mentioned on a lot of different sessions where everybody, almost everybody, desire more income, more money in some type of way, but not everyone's comfortable talking about it. I don't know why that just jumped to my mind, but why do you think that, Alicia? Why do you think people are uncomfortable talking about the riches they desire?
I don't know. I can only say what it was for me. That why about this about money, and I come from Panama, originally from Panama, and for me was like the it was like and people say that people that have money, they are good. And for me, that I came with a very, very small amount of money all the time. So it was not so good so to say how much money we had, because then I was also bullied because I was so financially poor, because I was rich in other things, but I was financially poor. And it I don't know, it created a ambivalence of talking about money. And because I don't know, people, I think that maybe it's because you think that is when you have money that you are worth something. I don't know. For me, it was that. And
Hmm.
what do you think yourself?
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. It's very similar to yours because we didn't really have much money.
Mm,
We were getting by pretty well. I know others that had less money, less income, but
mm,
I became uncomfortable when I started seeing people with lot of money, right? And remember, that's perception. So being where we are, you always you can see something as different, and over time, all that was is conditioning, right? Basically, you're comfortable where you are with the income that you have around you. As a kid growing up, where the houses you lived in, I traveled a lot. The car you were driving, we had some pretty interesting cars. As a child, I remember this really big car, and we had so many cars as kids, and they weren't, they ran, the car started, it got us here and there, but there were some breakdowns and stuff. And as a
mm,
kid, you don't really see those things, right? You don't see, that I wouldn't say that we were poor, but we were close. Like we
mm,
were a little below average, I believe. But when you see money and you're used to that for year after year after year, eventually and, and you start seeing other people with certain things you just never had in your life, it's uncomfortable, right? And
mm.
I think for me, talking about money for so long was very uncomfortable for me because of my upbringing, basically my environment and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And now that I understand that, I didn't know that, but
Yeah.
being around money, and also having a open relationship with it, right? Knowing that it's not a
Mm.
bad thing. And I
No,
remember, go ahead, please. Yeah.
no, no. Go ahead. Mm.
And I remember Bob sharing money allows you to expand the good beyond your own presence. So basically, if you're a good person, you'll do more good in the world as you're attracting more income. So it's just
Mm.
an amplifier of who you are. And with that understanding, I felt a lot better
Yeah.
about, So you were going to say something?
No, I was thinking about this because I was very very low. I started to work when I was 14 to pay my school, and also you mentioned the relationship that you have with money, but money is just a tool. It's just a tool, like a pen is a tool. The only thing is that you cannot go and buy something with this tool. The money will give you the opportunity to buy things and to help other people, and but I don't know, it is and I know, and at the beginning I thought that it was more um for a cultural, but I feel like in I live in Sweden, and in Sweden, it's more like people don't talk about money more. But in my country, we can talk more. But here it's more like, quiet about money. You don't say I have money, and you don't say I don't have money. It's like neutral. Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
that's the power of environment, right? The environment shapes us, our own beliefs, right? And how we feel about money. So, and
yeah.
there was something else in You Were Born Rich book, and it was so powerful. Bob mentioned in that book, he said the people that have the most income, or have high income, they became comfortable first and then the money, right? So they're comfortable talking about money, and they're comfortable having the money. Therefore, that's why they have the money. Those that
Yeah.
are uncomfortable, remain not basically having the money that they desire, right? So if you're uncomfortable, you're kind of pushing it away,
Yeah.
right? And even if you're not talking about it, you're just putting it away from your actual life. It's really profound when you think about that, you know. So, but yeah, we kind of went on a tangent there, but this is needed because a lot of people are uncomfortable talking about becoming rich or even just about money in general. So I think that's really good that we're talking about this.
You know, now that you mentioned Bob, I remember the first time I met Bob in Canada, in Toronto. He asked me what was my goal. And I say, my goal is to start a learning center for teenagers. Oh, but it's because I have a business at that time also, or I have that business still. Um, and I was like, yeah, but I don't want to earn money. And he say, yeah, but how are you supposed to help people if you are not generating money with your business? I said, oh yeah, that's that. And sometimes we think that because we have a business is not so nice to earn money, but it's because we want to help more people that we need to earn money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because I was just talking to somebody about that. He wants to help a lot of people and he has such a great heart and mindset, but I can tell there's a money paradigm there. He doesn't want to receive money for the good that he wants to impact the world with. So
Yeah.
I was telling him that exact thing. You have to kind of switch your perception about money because the more money you receive, the more good you can do with what you desire to help people's lives. So, but yeah, Bob was spot on with that, wasn't he, Alicia?
Mhm. Yeah, he was. He
Yeah.
was.
And let me ask you this: did he get a number out of you in that conversation?
Oh yeah, he did. Because okay, I want to earn my money, more money. He said, okay, here you have $1. Now you have more money. Are you sure that you? I said, okay. So I needed to say that, okay, I want to earn this money. Because it's not like saying, oh, I want to have more money. Because if you have 1 cent more that you have now, it's like more money.
Right.
So it's like, and I remember when I started my business, my coach's business, because I have another business, but my coaching business, and I wanted to earn the same that I was earning in my corporate job. And then Bob started to open my mind on what it was possible to so I could help more people. And that was very difficult for me at the beginning. It was like, I remember when I wanted to say my price of my coaching, it was like, oh my gosh, could I say that? But then he said, yeah, but it's not about you picking up money from people. It's like, how can you help people that otherwise it will take time and energy and so to make the change that they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I was learning a lot about that because I have problem with my feeling worthy of the money. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm so glad you're sharing that because a lot of us, including myself, was feeling unworthy
Yeah.
of the money and success that we desire. And you can always shift that belief. You always shift that belief through. There's different techniques, especially affirmations. I do that a lot, and believing it. right? The only way you believe it is by impressing your subconscious mind with the new idea, the new belief, and know that you're worth whatever it is that you desire. You're more than worthy.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people do that self work. I had to. I'm still doing it, and
Oh,
it never ends. Actually,
no, it never ends. It never ends. It's like, when you're a person that you rant all the time, you get a certain level of what is in English? The uh,
awareness.
when no, when you are a runner, you know. So if you don't run, and then you suddenly start to run and run and you run, and you get a level of that you can run, like, see, 10K without any problem. But then you stop doing that. Then
Uh,
you lose.
right, right, yeah, yeah. Long distance runners, right?
Yeah, but it's a level of what is the name?
Endurance,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
endurance.
so working with us, and I was talking to my clients last week, because many of my clients are moving to the next level. Yeah. And then they're moving to the next level, and I say, yeah, but I thought that I was finished, ready for this. I say, yeah, but you are moving from this situation here to a bigger one. And as soon as you are moving to that, you will meet the your fears. You start to, because you are going outside your comfort zone. And as soon as you go outside your comfort zone, all the paradigms will come back. But the only difference is that now you know that, and you know how to handle them.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Because if you are in your comfort zone, nothing will happen there. You are good. So the same is with, like, if you are not comfortable, uh, go and earning more money. But if you are in your comfort zone, you feel like, yeah, I'm okay with this and that. It's because you don't want to cross the comfort zone. Go outside that. So the old paradigms, they will come back, and it's why we need to work all the time. I normally say that it's like a garden. I have a garden here. I'm not so good at gardening, but if you the weeds will come all the time if you are not, like, picking away them and taking away them. They
Hmm.
will come back. And so is our mind. If we don't continue to work with ourselves, the weeds will come.
Yes, great analogy there. You have to consistently fertilize and water that garden. You have to, the garden of your mind, right? I love that. And I
Mm.
forgot to mention, for those that are live and those that watch the replay here, make sure you drop some questions or comments on whatever platform that you're viewing this on. We love to engage with you, interact with you, and meet you, for one, if we never met. And these conversations are very, very important towards your future and your goals that you want to create. And we just kind of jumped right in here, because what Alicia shared, it really sparked something in my mind about investing in mentorship, right? And you may feel uncomfortable about that because, for one, you've never done that before. Some people never invested in their own mind, in their own potential. They bought material things, but not really spend it on themselves. And that could be very uncomfortable for you. So let me ask you this question. Are you comfortable staying where you are and getting the same results? And if you are, that means you're in bondage. That first stage, you're thinking X type thoughts, and you have that same X conditioning in your subconscious mind, and you're getting the same results year after year. And how long can you stay there? You can stay there forever, but nothing will improve for you. You have to get uncomfortable, and becoming uncomfortable is part of growth. It's inseparable. It's very interesting because you know you want to go here, you know you desire this, but I have to get uncomfortable to go there. And this is where people tend to bounce back to their comfort zone, and they just think about it on a conscious level where they want to go. But guess what? You're looking at two people here that continuously break through a lot of fear over and over and over and over again, because our results, our desired goals are stronger than the fear that holds us back. And excuses are just connected to the fear and to the bondage and to your limiting self. I don't know how I got to that, but something you said kind of triggered some of those thoughts.
And that's was good that you talk about that, because for me at the beginning, when I have my first coach, I have for 5 years, the same coach, 5 years. But it took me long time to decide to go for a coach. And why? One, I had a fixed mindset. I thought that this is me and I will never change. That was one. And the other was that I felt unworthy of investing in myself. So I have that. And normally it's like, it was at the beginning also issue of finding a person that I could rely on. But when I met him, because he was a man, oh, I think that almost all my coaches have been men, but it was more like I trusted on him, but I didn't trust that I could make the change that I was. But it was when I decided that stop tolerating things that wasn't good and accepted that I needed to do something different. And he was very hard. Like it was like, in my face. And he said, if you continue to live this type of life, you will never, never be happy. And then he said to me, your happiness is in your hand. And now you are chasing outside you. And then I decided, okay, I cannot tolerate that situation anymore. And I accepted that I am worthy enough to invest in myself.
I love that. That is amazing. I love that. That is awesome. Huge applause, because you shifted your
Yeah.
beliefs.
Yeah.
Right? And that everyone here that watches this or listens to it can relate to that. Because you either stay where you are or make a shift.
Yeah.
And I was just talking to a client today. Personal growth is a choice. You have to choose. And you being where you are, that's choosing to remain the same. And life is so short, but we have unlimited potential, and we can have whatever we want. And we're we're talking about the science of getting rich here, right? But this is a great dialogue to go into this topic a little bit more. But the richness is based on who you're becoming, who you want to be, what do you want to have. And don't doubt yourself. Don't let go of those limiting beliefs, because they'll never serve you. And Alicia shared here in her story, she thought I couldn't change myself. That's what her old conditioning was. I thought the same thing. I was like, I'll never miss it, because my limiting beliefs were so ingrained in me. I thought they were a part of me, right? I thought that was my identity. Oh, I'll never change. I'll just keep working hard and get multiple jobs and work myself to exhaustion, and even to a mental state where I was worrying about everything. And I didn't realize there's a whole other side to it. There's a whole other side to, I was working on the competitive plane. And we'll talk about this briefly here, but there's a creative side and a competitive side. And, you know, we're going to tap a little bit more into this abundance. But this was really good because I think some people needed to hear this today, or whenever you watch this, because we have similar journeys here. And it's interesting. There's unique paths of getting to the same place, but we have similarities within it as well. So there's one thing that, you know, right off the top of this chapter, this is How Riches Come to You in the Science of Getting Rich, which is one of my top 5 books. He mentions give more to everyone, more than you take from them. I love that because it's essentially the law of cause and effect, almost, because he went through some examples in the book, but if you're giving everyone more than you take from them, that just means the universe, it balances out. You'll start attracting more. You'll start receiving more of what you do want when you're giving out more. And Bob shared that about, and Brian on a call. He did the powerful money paradigm call, where money is an effect, right? And you providing service and value at a high level, money chases you. You don't chase money. So that's basically what this is. You give more to everyone than you take from them. And that's Coach's Corner. These calls are very powerful. We share so many stories and experiences with expert advice, and we're very vulnerable. So we're giving more because I just love giving. I really do. And I know the power of that. And you can apply this to whatever it is that you're doing right now. Alicia, any thoughts?
Yeah, you talk about the law of cause and effect, and I think that also the law of compensation. It is when you give, you get back also, and how if when you give from your heart, not expecting something. For example, I know that when we share here and we give tips, and so we are sharing from our heart, not like waiting for something to come back. Because I believe that life is like a boomerang. You know, you throw away the boomerang and it come back to you, and it will come back, but you don't know from where. And I truly believe that what we give to the world will come to us. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, some days. And and here is the law of gestation. We know that we are planting seeds, and sometimes will come, and so. But that we are giving just from our heart, not thinking about, and I think that is what we need to have a distinction here, is when you give and give, it's not like you are, how you say, like you're not a doormat, or for other people, that they can do everything what they want with you. You need to be able to set boundaries, but when you give to people, give from your heart. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I remember before that I was the type of person always giving, 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 giving. The problem was that it was people that were um, you know um, taking all the time
Mm-hmm.
and abusing my generosity.
Mm-hmm.
That I needed to set boundaries. That is like, okay, here but not more, because it was taking too much energy from me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when you give and give all the time, but also be able to set boundaries.
Yeah. Yeah. I can totally relate to that. Willfully give and graciously receive.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
And when you're giving so much where, people take advantage of that, that's your paradigm, right? Where you don't feel worthy of receiving. So I hear the shift we both had,
yeah,
where we know where our boundaries are, right? Especially, with complimentary calls or coaching calls and stuff like that. There's a point where the best way you can give to another is by helping them give to themselves. you know so with giving to everyone more than you take from them, he says also give a great use value for a small cash value. And it was a really good example here, and I'll just read it really quickly. He says, let us suppose that I own a picture by one of the great artists, which in any civilized community is worth thousands of dollars. And he says, I take it from Baffin Bay and by salesmanship induce an Eskimo to give a bundle of furs worth $500 for it. So he says here, I have really wronged him. He has wronged him, for he has no use for this picture, unless he likes art, probably. But it has no use value for him, right? It will not aid to his life. But suppose I gave him a gun worth $50 for his furs. Then he has made a good bargain. He has use for the gun. It will get him many more furs and much food. It will add to his life in every way. It will make him rich. So that is a very straightforward example. It was adding to his life because he can use it to increase in his trade, in his industry, especially, if he's didn't have a tool to help him with his business. Yeah, Alicia, you had a thought there on this?
yeah. I was listening to a man. He's the author of the book Never Eat Alone.
Mm.
Uh, and his name is Keith Ferrazzi, I think. And he was talking about just that, about giving,
Mm-hmm.
giving. And he was uh, telling about the story that when there are people that give, that they want to give, but only if you give back. So it's like somebody say, "Okay, Keith, you can follow me to this place if you get me in this place." It's like a transaction, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not like giving because it comes from your heart, but it's giving waiting for get something back. And he talk about a lot of how can you be more of value to people, service to the people. uh, that is very important. And when you give and serve from the service and not from the getting, you will attract more people that are aligned with your values and with your mission. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Um, yeah, and connection to that, he talks a lot about, He says here right after that, leave the competitive plane to move towards the creative plane. And we shared that on another episode. But not a lot of people understand the difference between the two. And we have operated so long on the competitive plane. This world is very competitive. I mean, even you can look at so many different things, sports, politics, everything, right? So just to kind of, spark some convo here, the creative plane, well, the competitive plane, Wallace talked about how the same energy it takes to succeed in the competitive plane will be, it's temporary, right? It's not, it doesn't last. And the same energy it takes to build it will diminish it. And it was very powerful how he worded that. Being creative, you're knowing you're coming from an abundant mindset, of knowing that this thinking original substance is infinite, that there's no end to the creativeness that you can have. And they're two polar opposites ways of I wouldn't even say creation, but of results. And one of them is, it's more at ease, right? And the other one is kind of, it's you're forcing things almost. I can talk so long about that, but anything you want to share about the two planes there, Alicia?
When you talk about competition, we learn from when we are in the kindergarten.
Right.
I wasn't in the kindergarten, but I know that my sons, my son and daughters, I have 3 children, and they have been in the kindergarten. But when I was in the school, it was also the same. We are learning from the beginning the competition, and I don't know if you have in USA, but the playing, you have, like, if it's 10 participants, you have only 9 chairs, and then you go around the chairs.
Oh yeah, yeah. We used to play that. Yeah.
Already there, we are learning that it is a competition. You need to be like, to get the share before somebody else take that. So already there, we are learning that we need to compete all the time. And this is something that we grow up, and then we continue to compete. And the competition, I think, comes when you don't know your values. I love talking about values. So when you don't know your values deep inside you, what is important to me, and then you start comparing yourself to other people, but you don't know their values, and you don't know why they have that, why they chase the car or the house or and then you start to compare with that person, and then you start to compete. Oh, I should also have that car. Oh, I should have also that house, or that traveling, or something like that. But when you know what is important to you deep inside you, you don't start to compare yourself to other, and then you follow your heart, your soul, and not compare and not compete. Is what I believe.
Wow. I didn't get my hand quick enough to the applause button, but I was there. So powerful what you shared there was, we start with conditioning very early. We learn to compete at an early age, where our consciousness, our subconscious is wide open, and we're getting conditioned to feel as though there's not enough for everyone,
Mm.
or that I'm separate from someone else. That's where, competition, stems from, is thinking that there's not enough, which means there's a limited supply. And also that let me take this from you or do this better than you, right? There's comparison there. And what Alicia shared that was really powerful is you have a unique journey, not the same of anyone else. And what you desire is the essence of spirit wanting to express itself with, to, and through you, basically. So that desire, whether it's money, or something material, is very unique to you. And you want to do it using the creative plane, because competitiveness is, it's not what the soul desires. I know that now. That's what I believe. But it's what we've been taught. And this is how you relearn. Like, you unlearn, actually. You unlearn these things that we've been taught as children. And it's so powerful. If you don't change something in yourself, you pass it on to your children as well. So you're passing on these things you've been conditioned based on your environment and your upbringing to your kids. And we're both parents here, but really, really think about that, because how long are you going to allow this conditioning to control your life to think in that certain way? That is very powerful. I'm so glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, I have, I normally have the frame, because we all have a frame for how we see the world. So normally I have different frames, but if I have this frame and then somebody else have this frame like this, and then I comparing my frame to somebody else, then subconsciously if I don't go for what my frame say, go for that, this is your dream, follow your heart, follow what your soul will want. And they say, yeah, but there is Jamel with the frame like this. And they say, oh, I should also do like him. But the thing is that then I'm not respecting my own frame, because I am elevating other people's frame. And I say, oh, but my frame is not good enough. Somebody else frames of how they see the world is the best. Is why comparison is like drinking poison and think that somebody else will die. No. It's like follow what really the soul will for you, want for you. Is, and then you don't need to compare yourself to anybody. And if you compare yourself to somebody, is to get inspired, not to set a lead in the yard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that. That's so good. And guess what, everyone? There is no lid. The only lid is your mindset and the limiting beliefs that you have programmed, right? And there's actually no jar. You have to switch your perception. And speaking of no jar and no lid, he says here, you need not hesitate about asking largely. It is your Father's pleasure to give you the kingdom. So this is connected to what Alicia shared in the beginning, of both of us actually, about feeling uncomfortable about money and not being open to receive, being compensated for our knowledge or experience or journey, or breaking through fear that not a lot of people break through. So it is your Father's pleasure to give you the kingdom. So the question is, what is your kingdom? What is that large? I do that because it's based on your perception. So don't hesitate to ask, to dream, to imagine the life you really want. I get passionate about that because majority of my life I had a lack mindset, and I thought that I was unworthy. I thought that could never happen, or why would that happen to me? It happened to all these other people, but I'm not them. This is what my past mindset was, and I had to shift that. I wasn't even aware that I had that. So I have the awareness, and I shifted it, and I'm continuing to shift it. So it says original substance wants to live all that is possible in you. So remember past episodes, we talked about original substance, right? The thinking stuff. And, you know, original substance wants to live all that is possible in you, right? And wants you to have all that you can or will use for the living of the most abundant life. I didn't want this to go by without mentioning that, because this original substance, spirit, the source, God, whatever you believe in, wants to live through you. I kind of mentioned that earlier. And it wants to have all that you can or will use for the living of the most. So that abundant life that you see or you dream about and wish and hope for, it's very real, very real. And we allow the outside world to kind of hold us back and think that we can't have, be, do, or have those things. So just wanted to kind of share that because that is extremely powerful to understand.
Yeah, I agree with you, and we need to remember that we are the co-creators. So
Mm.
it's like we need to co-create with with what you say, God or the universe or whatever you call it. That it's not only to think that you are sitting in your meditation couch or you know thinking, oh, I want this, but we need to co-create by taking actions, and the having the clarity of what you want, the faith that this will happen, the beliefs that is I am good enough, I am worthy of this, taking the actions to get whatever we want. And sometimes we don't get what we think that is the best for us. For example, I was applying for an assignment in a company, and I was so disappointed that I didn't got that at the beginning. And I say, okay, so if I didn't get that, it's because something better come, you know? And it was that something better come. And I'm so happy for that. And at the beginning was difficult to like to get a no, because then I started like, oh, I'm so sorry about me. I'm not worth this. I'm not good enough, because the child in me was like, feeling unworthy. And then I remember that, wait a minute. So I have my picture when I was a child, and I have always I have my mirror, and I have that picture. And when I was like, oh, I don't know why I'm feeling bad and sad and so. And then I was meditating. I said, "Oh, this is the younger Alicia feeling unworthy, not good enough." And I said, "Oh." And then I took the picture and I said, it's okay for you to feel that in my body, because it's not me. And I was so grateful that I didn't got that, but my younger child inside me wasn't so good, wasn't happy. But the this is the thing, when we work with ourselves, we can be aware that, wait, it's not this big Alicia that is sad and so. is the younger Alicia. And then I could just accept that it was, but yeah, but I'm good enough and I know that something better will come. And it did.
There you go. You hear what's going on here? We're creating higher versions of ourselves
Yeah.
over and over again. And it all starts with our thinking. And we're rewriting or overriding our past selves. And basically we're impressing our subconscious mind, and we're basically getting rid of all this old garbage that's been programmed into our subconscious without us knowing, right? So a lot of people that are watching this, you have conditioning that's there that's stopping you from what you desire. And this is why mentorship is very important, because learning this or understanding it, for one, on your own is very challenging, because you can read all the books in the world, but without applying it with someone that's been through a lot of it, it's difficult on your own, very challenging, if not, I don't say impossible, but it's close to impossible. It's very close. So I really wanted to share this here. He says, if you fix upon your consciousness the fact that the desire you feel for the possession of riches is one with the desire of omnipotence for more complete expression, your faith becomes invincible. Complete expression.
Mhm.
So we're talking about the science of getting rich. So complete expression, right? And he goes on to say, example here. Once I saw a little boy sitting at a piano and vainly trying to bring harmony out of the keys. And I can relate to this because a lot of, when you're at a keyboard, you don't know how to play it. And he says, and I saw that he was grieved and provoked by his inability to play real music. I asked him the cause of his vexation, and he answered, I can feel the music in me, but I can't make my hands go right. The music in him was the urge of original substance, containing all the possibilities of life. All that there is of music was seeking expression through the child. So this was so powerful. He says the one substance, God or the source or whatever you believe in, the one substance is trying to live and do and enjoy things through humanity. He is saying, I want hands to build wonderful structures, to play divine harmonies, to paint glorious pictures. I want feet to run my errands, eyes to see my beauties, tongues to tell mighty truths, and to sing marvelous songs, and so on. All that there is of possibility is seeking expression through people. Huge. Can I? Wow. I read a little more than I want to, but it flows so well. Alicia, any thoughts on
No,
that?
I was when you say that this boy have the music inside, but he could not get to the hands, and I say that we all have a music inside. A music, it can be not just literally music, but a dream inside us. But for some reasons, we don't let it come out because we don't follow what our soul is telling us, because we are so in competition and comparison, instead of thinking what is that is trying to emerge from me, to go through me and come to the world with that. Because we are, I am setting my goals to the next year. Oh boy, you know, all the fears and everything is attacking me. It's like ghost, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
attacking me all the time, coming from down the when we were child, at least me, when I was a child, I was afraid that it was monster under my bed. And this is the same also when I started to set my goals. It's a lot of monsters and ghosts that they are coming and attacking me. And because I know and I have the awareness that I know that they are coming, and then I know how to handle that. But many are having these dreams and the music inside, and they are letting that music just disappear because they don't go for the dreams
Mm-hmm.
because of the cost and fear of being judged, fear of failure, fear of succeed, this fear of what other people will say, or fear of being rejected, or fear, all this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that reminds me a lot of the terror barrier, right? What it is, it's when you get close to making a real decision, you have that goal and that dream that's moving you forward. But the old conditioning wants to keep you back, wants to
Mhm.
hold you back. But when you're in that moment of that decision that's really making you scared but excited, you can't stay where you are. And the only way to achieve what you desire is to move forward. That is the only way. And
Yeah.
it's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. But once you break through that fear and all the rationale, you try to rationalize everything to stay where you are, it puts up a fight. And once you break through that fear, that's the freedom that you've been seeking. And faith and fear both require you to believe in something you can't see. And, a lot of people choose fear and they go right back to being comfortable. So this is so good to talk about this. And speaking of dreams, he says, all that there is of possibility is seeking expression through people. God or spirit wants those who can play music to have pianos and every other instrument, and to have the means to cultivate their talents to the fullest extent. He wants those who can appreciate beauty to be able to surround themselves with beautiful things. He wants those who can discern truth to have every opportunity to travel and observe. He wants those who can appreciate dress to be beautifully clothed, and those who can appreciate good food to be luxuriously fed. He wants all these things because it is himself that enjoys and appreciates them. It is God or spirit who wants to play and sing and enjoy beauty and proclaim truth and wear fine clothes and eat good foods. It is God or spirit that worketh in you to will and to do, said Paul. The desire you feel for riches, this is good, is the infinite seeking to express himself in you as he sought to find expression in the little boy at the piano. So you need not hesitate to ask largely. So, and then it goes on to talk about how people are afraid to ask largely. I won't continue there, but holding the picture in your mind of where you want to go is key. And that picture, you got to get emotionally involved with it. Meaning you get very emotional because that's your destination. That's who you're becoming. And if you're not acting on it, that means you're letting fear keep you where you are. And you got to know that it's becoming. And actually, it already is in actuality. But like Alicia shared, that was one of my affirmations. More good things are coming for me. Good things are coming today. I used to say that over and over, and it's true. You remember, whatever you say to yourself is true. If you keep saying it'll take long or I can't do that, it's true for you because that's your mindset. And you'll create that exact thing. And it works on two different polarities. So why not choose faith over fear every day? Any other remarks there, Alicia?
Yeah, and I was thinking that the importance that the goal or the dream that you have is just according to your innermost values. Because if you it's not that, because if the according to your value you will not get no fear or something like that. It will have, but because the goals and the dreams are in alignment with your values, you will take action anyway, even if you have fear, because it's more the desire of the soul that is driving you and not the fear of the ego. So or the ego's fear. So the soul has desire, the ego is like more fear based, and it's important that this you know that you are very very clear that this is what I want, not because that person have that or that person did that. Is because you have that. Fear will come, but because it's in alignment with your values, you will take action anyway.
I love it. Well said. Well said. And speaking of taking action, if anything spoke to you on this particular coach's corner or any of them, reach out to any one of us. We love to talk with you and really get clarity on these riches that you seek. Taking action past the fear in your comfort zone. We shared some powerful stories today, some great knowledge. It doesn't end there. Your future is waiting for you, the future that you desire. And yeah, our call links are in the comments or the description of whatever platform, or you can just reach out to us on one of the platforms that you're viewing this or listening to it. And this is, just one chapter of this book. And if you missed the other episodes, go back 5 more episodes and watch each chapter. They're all in sequence and they all have tremendous value in it. And they're meant for you to have whatever you desire. And if you have anything you desire, it's a no-brainer to contact one of us because we're creating ourselves. But it's nothing like creating with a powerful creator and understanding. You're getting a better understanding of what's really happening. And environment is key. When you have a positive driven environment, it's just different energy, So thank you, Alicia, my amazing colleague. Thank you so much,
Thank
for
you.
everything you share, your energy, your wisdom, your props as always. And it's always a great pleasure. And thank you to all
Thank
our
you.
viewers.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.